This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FY Investment Group and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics that impacts you, the viewer. Today, our guest is Sudhakar Shenoy. Sudhakar is a dear friend of mine. He's the founder, chairman, and CEO of an IT company located in McLean, Virginia, IMC, Information Management Consultant. He's going to talk about his own background, his humble beginning, but he came from a very, very distinguished family from India. He also going to talk about some of the philanthropic engagement that he is involved and engaged in this part of the country. Both of us share a common heritage. They both share a common goals and common spirit. And the spirit that have always guided both of us is, to whom much is given, much is required. And Sudhakar is a great person and a constant source of inspiration to all of us when it comes to sharing, loving, giving, caring, as well as be concerned, and the most important is be compassionate. And that's the principle that have always guided me, and that's the principle and the values and the strength that have always guided Sudhakar Shenoy. Sudhakar, thank you very much for coming. Appreciated it very much.
Thank you for that elaborate introduction.
Thank you. You have been wonderful. I have always in your footsteps. I will cherish that, nourish and nurture your thoughts and your leadership. Tell me a little bit about your background, as well as tell me a little bit about your company as well for the audience.
Well, I came to this country in 1970 after doing my undergraduate in electrical engineering. I came to Connecticut, actually.
You're an IIT graduate?
Yes, I am. One of those lucky ones that somehow got in. I came here, did my master's in electrical engineering, and then I did my MBA at the University of Connecticut. And after that, I taught at the university for about 5 years.
And which University of Connecticut?
University of Connecticut, while I was also working in a manufacturing company in Connecticut. And then in 1977, I moved to Virginia to work for a large consulting company. And in 1981, I started my own company.
And
that's the one
IMC.
I still have. Yes, that's the one I'm still working with. And most of our business, 80% of our business is in healthcare information technology. We do quite a bit of work for the National Institutes of Health.
You're talking about NIH?
NIH, yes.
That's the part of the HHS, Health and Human Services.
Health and Human Services,
great.
FDA, and then we also work with private hospitals. We work with pharmaceutical companies and research organizations.
So most of the business is government related or the commercial business?
Well, about 80% of our business is in the federal side. Okay. The other 20% is with private hospitals. We do a lot of work, for example, with the Memorial Healthcare System in Florida, Children's Hospital. We do a lot of work with hospitals in Miami. We have done work here in this area also with hospitals, but we also work with pharmaceutical companies, in providing them technology and solutions for new drug development and for what we call testing drugs and stuff like that.
Sure.
So, we work a lot with financial institutions. We have very large Fortune 100 clients. And a little bit with energy companies. We provide software for helping energy companies justify rates. Because, many of these companies have a monopoly in a given sector.
Sure.
For example, Washington Gas has to go before a review board, or for that matter, Dominion Power. They have to go before local jurisdictions to ask for rate increases. So we have a package software that does, it's called rate case management.
So it's off-the-shelf commercial software available?
Yes.
Okay.
They have to go and we sell it.
Okay.
And we help them make a case for justifying whatever rate it is that they want to ask for.
So things are going well for IMC?
Yes, under the circumstances. It could always be better. That you've been in the business.
Of course. Now, tell me what's your secret of success?
It's people.
What principle guides you and why you've been so successful?
It's good people.
Good. Hiring the right people and the talented individuals that you can surround yourself.
Let them do their best.
Okay.
And you can't beat that. And my people have been with me from anywhere. My senior management team, I think the average they've been with me is about 12 to 14 years. So which is a long time, as you know, in our industry, that's a long time. So we encourage people to be really good at what they do best.
So loyalty is very important to you.
Extremely important.
So it's both ways.
It's a
you're loyal
two-way
to you, you're loyal to them.
Yes.
So your secret of success, as I see, is obviously you laid you had a great foundation from education.
Yes.
And then you started the business.
Yes.
You're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You want to exploit the people's potential fully.
Yes.
And in addition to that, you're a smart person, so you surround yourself with a smart and talented individual who can take you to the next step.
Well,
so these are the things
the only place where I might argue is that I hire smart and intelligent people. How smart I am, I don't know.
No, I think when the people are smart, Sudhakar, they surround themselves with smart people.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about shift the gears. What are your interests and how do you spend your time? I know you're a busy person. Every time I meet you, you're a busy person. I had an opportunity to sit with you not too long ago.
I have tried to spend a lot of time in education. I sat on the board of George Mason University, courtesy of two governors, one Republican and one Democrat. And now I am on the board of Virginia Commonwealth University. The first one, 8 years I was on George Mason's
Where is that
board.
located, Virginia Commonwealth University?
In Richmond.
In Richmond. Okay.
They have one of the largest medical schools called the Medical College of Virginia. And I'm on the board and I chair their audit committee. So I'm very heavily involved with that. I'm also involved quite a bit with the Indian Institute of Technology in Bombay.
I know you funded something in IIT Bombay.
Yes. One of the things that we did was, I don't know, I was a part of a group that advised Prime Minister Singh on how to attract more foreign direct investment into India. Victor Menezes, who was the chairman of Citibank, headed that group, and I chaired the manufacturing sector. One of the things we noticed was that manufacturing was a very competitive field.
It is.
Not just within the country, but between countries. And of course, as you know, China eats everybody's lunch when it comes to manufacturing.
It does.
So,
because of the cheap labor.
Yes. And also, the way they calculate how much to charge that's another topic.
But I think it's shifting now, the manufacturing. As you see, the manufacturing used to be 20% of GDP in our country, close to about 10%. But as I see it, the labor cost in China is going to be a lot higher by the time it's 2018 or so.
Yes.
I think we're going to catch up with the United States.
Right.
But we are still innovative, creative. It's still the largest manufacturing sector in the United States, in this country.
Exactly. So one of the things that I did was I started a manufacturing company in India.
Oh.
Which
manufacturing what product?
We are making healthcare
products.
electronic products. But unfortunately, we couldn't really compete against the Chinese. Okay, so I had to shut it down. So one of the things that I realized was that as long as you don't own the IP, the intellectual property of whatever you're manufacturing, the Chinese will always beat you. Okay,
so they have no respect for IP.
Well,
I'm talking about Chinese.
Yes, I think that's part of the story here. So, what we did was my brother and I actually endowed a innovation center on the campus of IIT Bombay.
In Mumbai?
In Mumbai.
Wow.
And we built a little building, and we have, actually I was told at latest count we have 100 students and a dozen professors.
So this is a wonderful thing to do.
And I meet with them 3 or 4 times a year, and the goal is to create things that can be manufactured in India. We basically have several very simple goals. Number one, think out of the box and invent things that are really needed in the country for the people. Second, whatever you invent should have the potential to employ a massive amount of people, and only manufacturing can do that. The third one is it should produce revenue for the institution. So
it should be self-sustaining.
Self-sustaining, and to date they have been extremely successful.
So how many jobs have you created, Sudhakar?
Well, I can't place a number on it, but I bet you it's several hundred, if not several thousand.
Wow! That's a success story.
And I don't get any money out of it. All the revenue that's produced goes to the universities.
So you're recycling the revenue?
Yes.
Okay.
And one of the things, the first thing they created was a little post box for the Indian Postal Service.
Oh.
There are millions of post boxes that need replacement, and they have designed a unique post box that increases productivity, produces revenue, and can be manufactured in India because they own the IP. They're also working on a petrol pump that will dispense fuel and reduce the losses due to evaporation.
So it's more cost-effective and efficient?
Yes.
And also it'll be environmental friendly. That's what you talked about, which is very important to India.
Because it's not going to. The third thing that they're really working on that I'm really excited about is a solar-powered scooter.
And they have a lot of solar power in India.
Exactly.
They need to utilize it.
Yes, it's free.
The resource wisely, but not wastefully.
Right. So these are some of the things that they're working on.
Well, that's a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah.
I hope you can bring that innovation to our country, in this country, and we can create some jobs in America as well.
Well, as a matter of fact, I chair a fund called the Gulf Coast Funds.
The Gulf Coast Fund.
And which owns a company that does manufacturing here in the United States. And we have a factory in Mississippi that employs 3,500 people.
Wow.
Manufacturing electric cars.
Electric cars, I know.
And guess who buys them? The Chinese.
The Chinese.
So it's the opposite.
It's a vicious cycle, isn't it?
They are manufacturing here and selling to China.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And and that's something that, and you'll hear a lot about it because the first few cars are scheduled to roll off, I think, in July.
I want to shift a little bit of a focus of your engagement and involvement in philanthropic activities. I know it's a noble cause. I know you're involved very much with it. Tell us a little bit about your philanthropic activity in the United States and India and other part of the world. It's a very important to all of us to give it back to our country, to our community.
So. Well, in this area, as you're aware, I have chaired several galas for raising money.
I know you're involved with U.S. India Foundation, very much so.
Yes, American India Foundation.
Excuse me.
Yes, and annually we have a gala where we raise money, and 100% of that money goes towards worthy causes in India. And they support education, they support village. Things that benefit villages and things like that. And Victor Menezes, again, is the chair of that. Mm-hmm. Then on my own, I have chaired. Do
you have a foundation?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm just, I just give my time and a little bit of money. I chaired the Youth AIDS program, for India, because there are almost, I was told, 30 million kids in India with AIDS symptoms. So we raised a lot of money to help youth AIDS in India.
Sure.
I also chaired the American Heart Association gala one year. So
you're involved in many philanthropic activities to raise the money and to also talk about the concerns that they have, and especially the AIDS program that you talked about is very important to this country.
And one of the things that I'm currently doing that might be of interest is there's a gentleman in Richmond who basically had the idea that we should create an India chair at Virginia Commonwealth University.
So it's a South Asia Center, it's India Center?
Yes. He seeded it, and now I'm helping VCU.
So he brought the seed money, so you're going to...
Yes. We're getting all prominent Indians involved in it so that it can be a worthy cause to study U.S.-India relations. I'm also on the board of advisors for the Center for Strategic International Studies, CSIS.
Yes, I do know that.
Where my classmate and very close friend of mine, Romesh Wadhwani,
I do know him,
set up a chair called the Wadhwani Chair in U.S.-India relations.
It's well known, everybody knows about it.
Yes.
His brother is fairly well off.
His brother is also well off.
Very, very well off.
Yeah. No, Romesh is the guy, from California. His
Yes.
brother is in Pittsburgh, and
Right. I want to talk a little bit about you mentioned about the U.S.-India relationship, which is very important to all of us. It's headed in the positive direction. Obviously, we have some obstacles and challenges. How do you see the relationship progressing, and as far as the U.S.-India relationship is concerned today?
Well, they had a very interesting TV show, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, where the experts who came on recommended that the one real friend that U.S. can have in that region is India. In spite of everything, they've had a very stable government.
It's a democracy.
It's a democracy. There hasn't been any strife to speak of. Sure, there are little things here and there.
There's a bump there.
Well, we have it here too.
Exactly.
In Seattle the other day, there was a big riot with
totally
these Occupy people and the police. A policeman was stabbed. There's things like that happen in every country. But if you look at the greater picture, India has a very stable, environment. We have the rule of law is very strictly enforced. Yes, it takes time, but it's a country with 1.2 billion people, so you shouldn't be surprised that things take a little bit of time. And in a democracy, that's an indication that the democracy is working.
And no question about that. I cherish the India's democracy and diversity, and as our own system sort of deeply dysfunctional, India has not headed into that one. So now I see the relationship between the two will blossom, and it is headed in a positive direction.
I totally agree with you.
And I also see that about 400 million Indians, those are middle class, they will be the right target for us, so that they can buy our products and services. Yes. So it is the right thing to do.
And Frank, I know that you were involved with some of us in the U.S.-India nuclear agreement.
Yes, I was.
Some of us worked very hard to make it happen on this side.
It has happened.
So I think it would help if the Indian government recognized that and made sure that they build a stronger bond with the United States and bought more U.S. stuff.
Yeah. Well, I totally agree, Sudhakar, and I think a lot of people talked about it, especially they didn't buy some of the jets from us. But you know what? There will be some problems here and there, but I think it's headed in a positive direction. I'm very optimistic that our relationship with India will mature, and India is a country that's very stable and secure and democratic and cherish the diversity. So it's headed in a positive direction. I want to thank you very much for coming.
Oh, thank you very much for having me on your game.
Yeah.
You're a great guy, and I've always admired you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm glad to count you as one of my friends, too.
Thank you very much. Thanks. That is our show. This is Frank Islam wishing you a great week. And thank you very much for watching.